Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy to have you here for the July energy update. Stay tuned because we're going to be talking all about how our dreams can be made right now in our reality, because it all comes down to how can we feel as if they're already here? How can we channel the energy of our most abundant, carefree, capable, and empowered version of ourselves to base our dreams off of that reality and that version of ourselves? How can we tune into the present moment with our full feelings of emotions and experiences so we can just see and be grateful for how much of our lives are manifestations of what we've been longing for and hoping for leading up to this point? How can we realize how much our energy is affecting those around us, how our energy of empowerment allows others to dream too? And how can we just tune into these dreams as if we allowed ourselves to be fully creative and fully inspired and fully empowered and free and fearless, and create our life based on those things in the present moment? So I'm so happy to have you here and I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to the energy update for July. I'm so excited to be here and to be channeling through these messages for you, because when I sit in the energy of July, it's giving like long, hot summer, fun, creative energy. It feels like it's a little bit of a respite, like a really deep sigh after the really rapid pace of the last few months. It still feels like things are moving quickly, but definitely feels a little bit more stable and less like choppy changey with everything going on. There's an element to it of being in this double Capricorn full moon energy where we're going to have two full moons in a row, which are both Capricorn, which is very much this grounded, practical energy of what is it that you want and how can we start to create your life around that. So it's very much a reassessing energy and an energy of taking super grounded embodied action. But there definitely feels this vibe of like this summer feeling of like that fresh breeze, sometimes in the morning, like these early morning wake ups, sometimes this feeling of like being on the beach and the wind be flowing in your hair, the late summer evenings, and definitely surrounded by people. People is definitely much an energy of July. It's this friendship capacity. So who are you spending your time with? What does your day-to-day life look like when it comes to other people? And when we are in this energy in July of taking action towards our dreams in this really realistic way, it's who are you spending time with? And how do they make you feel about your own like dreams and visions? Are they people that make you think, hell yeah, that's possible? Or are they people who kind of wither down your self-belief and kind of like tear down those visions and dreams that you think are possible? Maybe they're super like realistic, or optimistic, not so optimistic, but more like this realistic kind of pessimistic energy. And it's very much about just assessing, okay, if I'm going to be around people, how is my energy being spent? And how is my energy being affected by those around me? Especially when it comes to the bigger picture of what do I think is possible in my life? And how are those around me maybe influencing what I think is possible? And with the energy being about taking grounded action towards our dreams, especially over the next 6 months, it's asking us to remember this in this month, but it's also asking us to remember a few other things. And that definitely includes what brings you inspiration. Because we're in this like so hot summer fun kind of vibe, it's definitely saying to us, okay, what about you? How do you feel that vibe? Where do you feel most alive in your spark of like joy and fun and passion and pleasure? And how can we really just notice these things? And how can we start to chase this feeling versus an outcome? And it's basically because it's always going to be about this bigger picture of how we are feeling in our everyday lives. Because if we're chasing in our goals and our dreams a specific outcome, we're going to be chasing things that are constantly outside of us and never fully enjoying it and being present with it, because we're not able to feel everything that we need to in the present moment. And so this month is asking us, okay, if we're going to chase an outcome, how can we chase a feeling of being inspired, being creative, whatever it is that your dreams are? How can we chase the sensation of it? And how can we feel more of that as best as we can? So maybe what are the activities, or who do you spend your time with? What are the things that you can do in your daily life that give you that feeling of what you believe your dreams are going to make you feel? And maybe this is working backwards. Maybe this is, okay, my dream is to achieve this in my life, or to have this, to have the money, to have this job, to have this experience, this travel. Okay, how would that feel when I had it? And this is like when we talk about manifestations, like chase the feeling. It's like, how can we embody the feeling now? And say, okay, well, what else in my daily life will give me a little bit of that feeling, or a hint of that feeling? Maybe if it's traveling, it's okay, going away for the day, or changing my routine up a little bit. That will help me, give me a little bit more of that sensation of exploring, of like fun, newness. Can you try a new restaurant? Can you go to a new place? Those are the kind of things that you can chase in your day-to-day life. Maybe if it's that feeling of being carefree and like chilling, it's like, well, can you do that? Can you go for a walk in the early hours of the evening when like the sun is just setting, and it gives you that just cool summer feeling? And maybe can we just bring in some of those big picture dreams that we want and bring them into a similar feeling that we could experience in our day-to-day life, and fill the month with doing those things? How can we chase those feelings versus an outcome? And not only will it make it more possible to achieve your dreams, but it also just means that you're going to be able to feel and receive everything in your life right now, and not be chasing something that you don't have to have those feelings. So that's a really important little like kind of tidbit to definitely chase, and definitely think about when you think about, okay, what are my dreams and visions, and what would the feeling closest to that be? Because you can channel that feeling at any time. And it's funny because I've got this dream about going traveling, and I just hold those feelings when I'm doing yoga. And when I'm doing my yoga in the morning, I'm like moving my body. I'm like, oh my God, it'd be so amazing. I'm going to eat this food. It's going to feel like this. And I just kind of like channel in that energy. And that's such a beautiful, like, breaking down the barrier between where I want to be and where I am right now. And I basically have an amazing morning because I'm like, in my brain, I'm in Bali. So that's literally incredible. But we can do this at any time. And I definitely do this when I'm walking in the evenings. I'm walking the dog by the water, and I'm like feeling the breeze and breathing it in. I'm like picturing myself on the beach somewhere. And that is just such a beautiful thing that we can channel and embody in our daily lives so easy and simply. And the next thing to remember for this month was, okay, another prompt. Who do I want to become? Who am I really deep down? So if I wasn't chasing these things, if I didn't have these things in my life, the quote was, when everything else is gone, who do you want to be? And so if I wasn't chasing that dream, if I wasn't channeling this message, if I wasn't doing those things, like, who am I really deep down? And how do I want to live more like that version of me? How can I free myself up to be more of that version of me in my everyday life, like my day-to-day life? And this is what is most important, because this is the energy of what we're meant to be channeling in when we talk about our goals and our dreams. What's most important is who we are as people, who are we becoming along the way, and who are we now as we are standing here expressing ourselves. Even when we consider our dreams, how can we make them more authentic, like that are more ourselves when we are fulfilling our lives, like fulfilling our dreams and living our everyday lives? And what's important here is remembering that, and just saying, like, how can I become more and more of that version of me in my daily life? How can I channel in more of that energy? And this might be different, because maybe the truest version of you deep down is someone who is not held back in fear. And maybe right now you just have a lot of fears telling you what's possible and what isn't possible for you. And it might just be this moment of like, okay, right, if I didn't have any of those fears, what would I think is possible for me? If I believed anything was possible, what would I dream about? If I wasn't worried about what people would think, what would I do? If I wasn't worried about what I would say, how would I interact with people? And it's like little bits like that. And that helps us to vision out what we want our lives to look like. And how can we begin to bring that through, that energy, into our everyday life? And especially, like, how can we breathe in the energy of this version ourselves? It goes along the same thing. Like, can you be walking? Can you be doing yoga? Can you be doing your everyday life? And just really inhaling deeply and just visioning yourself as that version of you. and starting to behave and act and be more like that version of you in your daily life right now. And this is what this creative energy is about, because when we think about this Capricorn energy that we're in this month, it's very much, okay, well, strategically, what am I going to create in my life? What is the plan for how things are going to come through? But before we can think about the plan, we think about how can we determine our dreams based on who we truly are? Who we are when we're not worried about what other people are thinking, when we're not worried about the fear, when we're not telling ourselves that's not possible. If we were to be truly empowered and feel all of our power within ourselves, believe everything was possible, not be held back in fear, and just be so authentically ourselves, then what would our lives look like? What would we dream for and about then? And this is the energy that we're trying to create, these long-term visions in the here and now. So especially when we're planning for the next 6 months of the year, or even longer moving forward, how can I create from that version of me? And so the question is, like, what are you calling in based on that most unlimited, fearless, authentic, full, empowered version of you? And that's kind of the energy of this month. It's, can we be creative? Can we have this inspiration, this inspirational energy? Who do we surround ourselves with? Who do we believe that we are? Who or what do we think that we're capable of? And how can we begin to show up as this most unlimited, capable, empowered version of ourselves? And when we are showing up as that version of ourselves and we're channeling the feelings of what we want in our everyday life, how can we call in our reality, our life, our dreams based around this most fun, empowered version of ourselves, and basically just decide that we are that version of ourselves, that our dreams are going to happen because we decided that they would, and that we begin to live each moment, maybe not every single moment, but like most moments of our lives, especially in the present, as if we already have everything that we want. And we are calling in that full feeling emotion of everything that we have, everything that is possible in the here and now reality. And this is just a reminder, it's like when we are definitely dreaming about things in the future, how can we not spend and live our lives wishing for and hoping for and waiting for something that is like far removed for us? How can we begin to bring that energy into the here and now? And I think this comes into like being fully present in our body. Like, how much capacity do we have to fully feel everything? It's our emotions, our dreams, our happiness, and just be fully present. And I definitely know within myself that there are times where I numb and I dissociate. And I've got certain behaviors where I telltale signs when I'm procrastinating, when I'm dissociating, when I'm numbing myself, that I'm not in the full feeling emotion of the moment, full feeling body of the moment. And this could be, what's coming to me is like what we put into our bodies, the food that we feed ourselves. How is that disconnecting us from fully feeling? How awake do we feel in our bodies? Are we present? Are we moving our bodies intentionally? Are we breathing fully? Because breathing is such an expanding energy that helps us to hold more capacity, because it helps to bring in more energy, oxygen, which is like literally energy for the body, but also more prana and life force. So it's this awakening feeling. How do we allow ourselves to be present enough in the present moment to like hold gratitude, to say, I'm so grateful for this, and visualize our hearts opening, this feeling of our chest opening as we breathe in and share gratitude for where we are right now. And these are things that help us to be more present in our bodies. And when we are more present, it allows us to feel things more. That's why I said, like, how do we feel when we're with others? Like, are we conscious? Are we aware of how our energy is affected by those around us? How do we feel the inspiration of what we're trying to call in when we think about our dreams and our visions? Can we call the feelings in now? That's about being present in the body. And even when we think about who do we really want to be, how much of our time do we spend disconnected from who we are, disconnected from our bodies, disconnected from ourselves, even like shaming ourselves or hiding ourselves or numbing or disconnecting from ourselves because we don't like who we are, or we don't like the way that our body looks, or because we don't think things are possible for us. We don't feel worthy. We don't feel capable. We don't feel empowered. And it's about using all these things to try to become more in the present moment, in the present body, so we can feel more And when we can feel more in the present, we can unlock more. And that makes it so much more nurturing and so much more satisfying to have everything right now and feel everything right now. So we're not always chasing something outside of us, but we can feel everything right now, which means that when we have the thing that we want, we can feel it with even more energy. And like that is such a beautiful place to be in, because that is what allows us to feel everything and to feel grateful for what we have. Because how many times have you wanted something, you've been chasing something, manifesting it for months and months and months, and then you get it and you don't like it, or you don't appreciate it, or you're just like, oh, I want this next thing now. Because we're always moving from thing to thing. And I'm guilty of this. Like my guides tell me all the time, they're like, hey, stop chasing, like present moment. Like you've got things now, like this is the reality of what you've been manifesting, enjoy it now instead of thinking about the next thing. And this is just welcoming in to be more and more present in the moment, because life is only happening in the moment. And this is when it becomes more complex with timelines and stuff. But like the present moment is what is going on. Like the future doesn't exist, right? Like it's not a thing that's tangible to us. And so the more that we can be more present and have the full body emotions and the feelings and sensations by being present, the more that we're going to appreciate what it is we are trying to call in. That's how we know when we are the most alive, awakened, connected, capable version of ourselves, that we actually feel that way, because we are allowing ourselves to feel. And so this month is calling us into, okay, how can I assess these things to try to be most present in the moment, to try to call in the feelings I'm trying to envision or dream about, to become this version of me right now, to channel that energy of me right now, as if I already have all of those things, and be present of how my energy is affected by those around me. And how am I, on a knock-on effect, having an impression or an impact on those around me? Because when we step into this most alive, fun, awake, abundant version of ourselves, that allows others to receive the same energy. So without knowing, the way that it's working on a spiritual, energetic level, far beyond our understanding, is that that allows others to awaken that within themselves. So the most that we can channel our truest selves, our most awakened, empowered selves, the more permission it gives others, knowingly and unknowingly, to do the same in their lives, and so that we can build up their dreams. And so this is like this beautiful knock-on effect of everything. But the more that we can be more present and conscious with what's happening in our lives, the more we can be more present with what is happening in the lives of others and the way that our energy is affecting them. And the more that we can live out our dreams and live out our full potential, the more that that's awakened in those around us. And that's just such a beautiful message and remembering to step into July with. Oh my God, the months, they're going by so quickly. And like definitely for me, like timelines just collapsing in on themselves, because time is moving so quickly. But I can definitely feel, while it's moving fast, how stable and how like blissful this energy could be when we allow ourselves to be awakened in the moment, to be awakened to our sensations, our fullest self, our fullest expression, our feelings and our emotions in the most positive way, to feel everything as if it already exists, to feel our dreams as if they're right now, and allow ourselves full permission to experience that and create that ripple effect in our lives. And so this month is all about that summer feeling. So how can you channel it as much as possible? How can you make a list of the things that bring you the feelings of what you want, and prioritize them in the here and now, as if you have everything already? And just be in full gratitude to even get to be listening to this, to even get to think about what you dream about. Think about your dreams. Think about who your truest self could be if anything was possible for you. But at the same time, nothing else existed, just your true essence. Like that is a privilege, and we get to feel that, embody that fully when we are connected in the present moment. And so this month is just so fun, and I feel like there's such an energy of expansion and creation to it. So I invite you, how can you embody more of that now? And what are the actions you get to experience over this month to make that your reality? So I'm so excited. I hope this was helpful. I'm here for you. I love this energy, and I hope it's blessings for all. So I'll see you next week for the next energy update.